If you're tired going into the new year, this is for you. And I don't mean just physically tired. I mean that deeper kind of tired. The kind that doesn't really go away with sleep. The kind that shows up even when you're trying. I wanted to make this video because a lot of people are walking into a new year already worn down. And when that happens, it's easy to assume something is wrong with us. We start thinking maybe we're unmotivated. Maybe we didn't try hard enough last year. Maybe we should be more excited, more focused, more ready to start fresh. But I don't think that's the real problem. I think a lot of the tiredness people feel right now actually makes sense. When we talk about being tired, we usually treat it like one thing. But there are actually different kinds of tired, and they affect us in different ways. There's physical tired. That's the kind you feel in your body, the kind where rest, sleep, or a slower day usually helps. Then there's emotional tired. That's the tired that comes from carrying things quietly for a long time, being the strong one, being the responsible one. And then there's decision tired. This is the one we don't talk about as much, but it adds up fast. Decision tired comes from making too many small choices all day long. What to respond to, what to ignore, what needs your attention right now, who needs your attention right now, what can wait, what can't wait, what should you be doing next, what you're not getting to. Even deciding what not to think about takes energy. None of these decisions feel overwhelming on their own, but when they stack up, they can leave you feeling completely drained before the day is even half over. One thing I want to be really clear about here is that this isn't a motivation issue. A lot of people assume that if they feel tired, it must mean that they're unmotivated or lazy or just not trying hard enough. But most of the tired people I know aren't unmotivated at all. They care. They show up. They try. They're tired because they've been carrying responsibility for a long time. So if you've been telling yourself that you just need more motivation, it might help to pause and ask whether that's really true, or whether you've just been asking a lot of yourself for a very long time. I noticed this on a really normal day. Nothing big was happening. There wasn't a crisis. There wasn't a deadline. But by late morning, I felt mentally worn down. And when I stopped to think about it, it wasn't because I'd done anything hard. It was because I'd already made so many small decisions. By that point in the day, my brain had been in decision mode nonstop, and it finally needed a break. That was a small moment, but it shifted something for me. I realized that this kind of tiredness isn't a personal failure, it's not a motivation problem, and it's not a discipline issue. It's what happens when there's too much asking something of you at once. Even if none of it feels dramatic. Even if everything looks fine from the outside. One thing I want to talk about here, because I think it confuses a lot of people, is that this kind of tired doesn't always go away with rest. Yeah, you can take a day off, you can sleep more, you can slow things down, but you can also still feel tired. And when that happens, it's easy to think, what's wrong with me? Why isn't this working? What am I doing wrong? But sometimes the issue isn't that you haven't rested enough. It's that you're resting on top of pressure. You're resting while still thinking about everything you need to fix, everything you should be doing, everything waiting on you. And that kind of tiredness doesn't respond to rest alone. I think a lot of people quietly feel like they're behind going into a new year. It's probably something that you don't say out loud, but a lot of people feel like that. Do you feel like everyone else is resetting, planning, getting motivated, and you're just trying to get through the day? But feeling tired right now doesn't mean you've missed something. It doesn't mean you did last year wrong. It usually means you're responding to reality. Life didn't pause just because the calendar is changing. Things still need your attention. You still showed up. You still carried what needed to be carried. And it makes sense if you don't feel excited yet. Sometimes readiness comes after pressure eases, not before. If you're waiting to feel ready before you start feeling hopeful again, you are not alone. A lot of people think readiness comes first, and then motivation and energy follow. But sometimes it works the other way around. Sometimes relief comes first, then clarity, then energy. And that means it's okay if you don't feel excited yet. It's okay if you're not setting goals. It's okay if you're just taking this one step at a time. Feeling tired right now doesn't disqualify you from having a good year. It just means you're human. Going into a new year can make this kind of tired feel even heavier. There's pressure to reset, pressure to improve, pressure to fix things, pressure to start over. And if you're already tired, all of that pressure can feel like too much. Instead of motivation, it just adds weight. If you need permission today, let this be it. You don't need to fix everything right now. You don't need a new plan. You don't need a better system. You don't need to push harder. You are allowed to make things simpler. You're allowed to let some things wait. And you're allowed to choose relief over pressure. Choosing fewer things doesn't mean you're giving up. It doesn't mean you're falling behind. And it doesn't mean you don't care. Sometimes it just means you're listening. It means you're paying attention to what your capacity actually is. When people hear the idea of slowing down, it can sound vague or unrealistic. It doesn't mean stopping everything. It doesn't mean doing nothing. Sometimes it just means choosing one less thing, one less expectation, one less improvement project, one less area of your life that needs to be optimized right now. Slowing down can look like deciding that this season isn't for fixing everything. It's just for maintaining what's already there. And that kind of slowing down isn't quitting. It's adjusting to your actual capacity. If this resonates with you, you are not alone. Feeling tired doesn't mean you're broken. It doesn't mean you failed last year, and it doesn't mean you're starting this new year behind. Sometimes the most helpful thing isn't motivation. It's understanding why you feel the way you do and giving yourself room to breathe. That's all I wanted to share going into this new year.